Good morning. Hope y'all are doing good. And oh man, I'm in trouble. So not one, but two XL ice cubes and all of the ice from the fridge. Let's do it. All right. Some nice crackling popping. So while this cools down just a sec, I want to talk about today's topic. And I want to discuss validation today. So this is something that, as I continue to create more content, continue to do more outreach, continue to get more mentors, something I find myself seeking quite a lot. And I'm definitely going to get into this story and reasoning as to, I think, where me seeking validation originally came from. Then also help you kind of understand what I'm trying to do to combat me seeking it to such a high degree, right? So let's let this water definitely get a little bit colder here, and then go ahead and do it. Let's do it. All right. Ooh, so the cold definitely sinks. Okay, yeah, time to just get in. Okay, so validation. I think it all started for me personally in middle school, high school. I wasn't too much of a popular kid, right? Definitely put more of a focus on attention. I wanted to feel like I belonged somewhere, right? And so because I was more overweight, not as socially adept, I would show up in ways to really just be kind of self-deprecating, be a class clown, find the way to get, a certain amount of validation by, making jokes or making fun of myself and getting in trouble in school and class and all that. And I started to feel good, right? I started to get attention, get laughs from people, but it wasn't also necessarily the right type of attention. They weren't going to invite me over to their house to come hang out. They get a quick laugh in school, and then I'd be back to just being kind of alone, right, to some degree. And that trend kind of carried on, throughout high school. Definitely during college, especially when I started to just turn health around and try to focus on being more social. The validation seemed to almost shift a bit. The validation definitely shifted towards my looks, right? How I looked, people praised me, working out, calling me handsome, all this sort of stuff. And that gave me great satisfaction in the, type of, praise and reward that I was getting. So it almost transitioned over time. And after starting my business, sure enough, again, I started to notice a new way that it's been showing up, right? And it's been wanting to be praised and improved for the type of content I'm creating. And then even some of the outreach that I'm doing, right? Cold outreach. So especially when I started within school, which for those of you who don't know, it's a community-based platform by Sam Ovens. Alex Hormozy recently invested in it, and I've started my first community on the platform. Well, they also have some really popular groups where you're able to post and create content and add value to other people. And I started to get pretty good traction in regards to receiving likes and attention from a lot of the valuable content I was creating. And I started to realize that I started to sacrifice a lot of what I was doing on LinkedIn, that was actually driving revenue, like the cold outreach, reaching out to people, getting connections, moving things forward. I started to put too much time and attention on the content, creating content that I hadn't proven school out as a viable channel yet, to actually bring in revenue from, but I was putting likes and attention from my top favorite creators above all else. And I had to have a pullback, about 2 weeks ago, a week ago, because I realized I was just way too far in deep. Like, someone liked it, they liked it there. And it's like, what am I really getting from this other than my ego being pleased and a little bit of satisfaction? So when you're at a point toward some scenarios, you're putting validation over your purpose, you're putting validation over your livelihood, like making money, you're putting validation at the top of what is most valuable to you, it's kind of a little bit of a shallow way of living, you know? So for me, kind of what I did, I just focused in on the version of myself I wanted to be, you know, in 5 years, right? What do they do? What type of people do they hang around? What type of, what is the level of respect they want from a certain type of people, right? And that started to help me understand and focus in on what really matters, like focusing on my business, my family, actually looking to add value, continue to boost my offering, and putting validation a bit on the back burner, right? It's definitely challenging growing up around it and being so dependent on it, but I just find that the more I grow, the more these kind of lessons that I have to learn, and if I don't learn it the right way, I'm going to learn it the hard way, right? And the hard way would be I continue to post content seeking validation, and I sacrifice what I'm actually doing to grow my business. So of course there's almost a balance, because like when you start to create valuable content that gains good traction, also validation comes with that. With success, I think also can come validation, but it's making sure that you stay consistent with what you're doing and stay focused on it for the right reasons, you know? Staying focused on doing the work you do to give people more options in their life, you know, create expansion in their life, be the cold water tide that floats all boats, right? And when you get too caught up in the self-satisfaction of what you're doing, at least for me, it's a road that doesn't really lead anywhere, and it's a road that doesn't lead to true fulfillment. So yeah, that's my story and experience with validation. I'm sure in the next few months you'll hear me have a entirely different take on the new things I've learned around it, but I just really find it important to separate, you know, what you're working towards and, you know, what's actually going to make an impact versus what's going to make you feel good. So on that note, starting to get a little chills, but it was a good plunge. So appreciate y'all for being here, and I will see y'all in the next one. Take care.